What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of the Women Behind the Courage Couture Gala. Listen, I am beyond excited. First of all, this person is extremely hard to get in contact with, but I love her. She's my sister, and I
Yay, money.
understand that she's a very busy woman because she's getting that PhD over there. So I'm super excited to bring to y'all my sissy, Chelsea Hood. Hi, sis.
Hello, sis. Hi, everybody.
Listen, I'm so excited that you had time to do this. So you got to tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Of course, of course. So, my name is Chelsea Hood. I am a six-year PhD student at Howard University for the School of Social Work. My research interest focuses on domestic violence, specifically working with the offenders and trying to figure out what we can do, Esther, we can find this exit ramp so that we can stop being violent and abusive in our interpersonal relationships. I am focusing on Black males. I'm a Black American woman, right? So I feel as if for me, prioritizing the Black community is something that is just a part of my life's work. So yeah, I've been doing that since 2019. I also have been doing some work with sexual assault survivors. I worked with the Maryland Coalition Against Sexual Assault for 3 years. And also now I am a licensed psychotherapist for the DC and Maryland area, work with individuals, couples, adolescents, children, survivors of sexual assault, domestic violence, relationship issues, anxiety,
Yeah.
depression, what have you. So, yeah, I just turned this into my life's work, just me experiencing and witnessing a lot of the stuff that I'm
Yeah.
working on, right? So, yeah, that's just a little bit about me.
Listen, I love it. Now you see why I say you're so busy, right? Because like you do it, so you're like rambling off so casual, and I'm like, girl, this is why you're so busy. But
Right.
we still love you. So to kick off the conversation, I gotta ask you, like, what inspired you to say yes? When I came up with this idea and I came to you and I was like, this is what I want to do, like you were like 10 toes down, like, yep, let's do
Yep.
it. So
Yep.
what was the inspiration? What made you say yes?
First and foremost, I was glad that you even consider me being a part of something so major. Secondly, it's never a wrong time to have to do this type of work, right? This this gala is going to be for a good cause. So
Mhm.
anything that's going to bring the people together, collaborate, connect, network, bring the vision to something that's going to be connected for the greater good. I'm always going to be down for it. Leah, you have always been a visionary in my book. You always thinking ahead and being creative. So I was like, why would I say no? That would be absolutely ridiculous. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's just for a greater cause. It's outside of us. This is something that's going to be continuing way past us.
Yeah, I love that you say that because I think sometimes people don't realize that even as a visionary, like I vision for bigger than me, right? Like, and
Right?
I think that people don't realize that. I did a post on my social media yesterday because I had a survivor like DM me on TikTok who was going
Mm-hmm.
up against her father who was trafficking her. And she finally had the courage to like see him through court and everything like that. And she felt safe enough to tell me that. And so I did this whole post on my social media of like, yeah, I think this gala is about me. This ain't got nothing to do with me. Like this is the money that I'm asking, the ticket set, like none of it has to do with me. I'm not pocketing a dime.
Right.
Like if
Right.
anything, I'm giving it away. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, and so I love that you said that because I think people do think that as a visionary, you're doing it for you and it's about your lifestyle and the money. Like God is always gonna make sure I'm straight because He opens doors
Amen.
every single day, but it
Amen.
has nothing to do with me. Like I promise you, I tell people all the time, if I could do what God has called me to do and nobody knew my name, I would be content.
Mm.
But that ain't what he's called me to do. Like he's called me to be in the forefront. So
Right.
I love that you say that. So one of your roles, because you kind of like wearing two hats at this gala, is survivor
Mhm.
support and
Yes.
then volunteering and like overseeing our volunteers. So I want to know why was that important that you would be able to help both making sure that survivors are feeling safe, but then also like helping with the volunteers.
Yeah, so I feel as if both of those roles are connected to each other, right? Because I'll start with the survivor support. a lot of us that are a part of this work, we are survivors in some aspect or another,
Yeah.
right? Whether it was us or someone close to us. So oftentimes we are translating our trauma into our life's work in some capacity with this.
Yep.
So with the volunteers, with the survivor support, I just feel as if I want to be able to be as helpful in that domain as possible. I don't want to be sitting down, right? Like
Right.
I want to be floating and making sure like the volunteers, whatever they need from me, I will be there. I'll be present, helping them with other things. And also some of the people who are there, just needing additional support because we don't know. Maybe some of the things that we talk about or bring up, it might be retriggering. It might bring back
Yeah.
some things that they either repressed or they thought about or didn't even consider. So I
Hmm.
definitely feel as if I just want to be as hands-on as possible and just be a helping hand in some aspect.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. And I think that's why I was so intentional. Like once I knew we were doing a gala, because remember we were supposed to be doing a fashion show, but it
Yeah.
pivoted. And I just knew from whatever it was that we were going to do, I was like, I'm so intentional about not re-traumatizing folks. Like that's why survivor support was like important. That's why the volunteers were important in us making sure that like we get with them and we lay down like here's the expectations of the night, all of those things, because more than anything, I want people to walk into that room and have an experience. And
Yes.
prayerfully, even though we have a comfort room available, and me, you, and Melissa, shout out to her, all the licensed therapists, right?
Mhm.
Like we will have those things available, but prayerfully, it's not needed. But I wanted it to be well understood that like you come into this room, yes, we're here to celebrate, yes, we're here to amplify all of those things, but if it gets too much and you're like, I just need a minute, there are people available that are on standby that are ready to like whisk you off. Nobody's even gonna know that,
Yes.
like so that you can process and do all the things because we know topics like sexual violence is very heavy. And like you said,
Mhm.
you might have had some things suppressed and then all of a sudden you start hearing people telling their story, and you like wait a minute, something then came up all of a sudden. So that
Mhm.
was very very intentional for me from day one because I don't believe in re-traumatizing survivors at all.
Right. 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 Like I feel as if with the survivor support aspect of it, it's just thinking ahead. Like
Mm-hmm.
we want to make sure we're covering all of our bases with our survivors and with other people that are coming from, different walks of life and
Yeah.
understanding like, hey, we hear you, we got you. We want you to have a
Yeah.
good time and understand this is a safe space. So yeah.
Yeah, 1,000%, 1,000%. So I want to ask you because as you coordinate with the volunteers,
Mhm.
what does showing up really look like for events like this? Because I think a lot of times people volunteer for stuff, but they don't realize that like the volunteers is just important as the
Mhm.
actual core team, if not more important. So, what does showing up look like as a volunteer?
I feel like showing up as a volunteer meaning it's closing the gaps, right? Like
Yeah,
things that we may not be paying attention to or being mindful of or we're overlooking, of course, with no malintent whatsoever, but just things that we're not really being attentive to. They will be there to provide some attention to it, be able to fill this
yeah,
gap. So I feel as if with volunteers, they just will be those type of people that are going to be supporting us so that we can
mm-hmm.
support other people.
a
Um,
thousand percent.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So shout out to the volunteers who know how to volunteer.
Yeah, no, seriously, because I don't think people realize that volunteer is service.
Yeah.
And I was telling Aya, shout out to her,
Mhm.
that I just believe that you should serve where you're headed, right? And so,
Yeah.
like, one of the people that I follow, Ashley Kirkwood, she was in the DMV area last
Mhm.
week, and I had an opportunity to volunteer on her team. And we talking about a multimillionaire. You know what I'm saying? I just believe
Yeah.
like serve where you're headed. And so for me, getting the opportunity to volunteer and to go to this event for free, where she was charging $300+ a ticket, you know what I
Okay.
mean?
Talk about it.
Right? Like I just knew, okay, I got to show up as if this was my event, right? Like that's just my thought process. If I'm gonna volunteer my time and my like, I'm going to serve the way I would want somebody to serve if it's my event, right? Like I'm
Right.
not gonna half-ass. And it was interesting to see the other volunteers because you could tell the ones that were just half-assing. Like it was just like what are we doing here? And people don't realize like you're sowing a seed because when at some point it's going to be your turn, right? And don't be
Exactly.
mad if you reap what you sowed because they're
Right.
the half-ass volunteers. So that just be my thought process about volunteering is like treat this event as if it was your own event. How would you want people to feel? How would you want people to interact with you? And just do that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense, sis.
I agree. All right. So I want to ask because a lot of crap has been happening with this administration, and a lot of organizations have been doubling down and taking
Yeah.
down resources and all the foolishness
Yeah.
to appease the federal government. So, with grassroots organizations like mine, like Save Me, how can we inspire people to start putting more money, more time, more effort into organizations like mine? Because I feel like the little guys, we're like the little guys on a totem pole, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody don't want to support us. Everybody want to support Rain and MCASAs and all the I mean bigger people, but
Mm-hmm.
those are the people that from the outside looking in are causing the harm because they're removing resources because they would rather prioritize federal dollars than to actually take a stand. So how do we inspire people to get behind the smaller guys?
I feel like visibility is a big part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like being consistent with visibility, word
Yeah.
of mouth, always mentioning it in conversation, understanding the importance of why money for grassroots is so essential
Yeah.
because it takes away from having to be tied to this ridiculous administration that's going on.
Right.
Right.
Yep. Yep.
We just in the first year, we got 3 more to go. So we
Right.
have to be very
Right.
creative in regards to what does grassroots look like for us and how are we willing to sacrifice and compromise a bit on our time, to figure out how will this look in the next 3 years? What will this look like for the new administration, right?
Yeah.
So I really feel like visibility, consistency, word of mouth, sacrifice,
Mm-hmm.
understanding again that it's bigger than yourself, right? Acts
Yeah.
of connected to this type of work. And coming together is not competition, but collaboration. So really getting connected to other grassroots organizations.
Yep.
There is power in numbers. So
Yeah.
I feel as if just understanding we got to just keep on being persistent. And at some point, this will be bigger than these organizations that have to sometimes be a slave to the federal dollar.
No, seriously. And it's funny because I was in a meeting yesterday and that was something that I said. I was like, I think that the question was like, how do we continue to do anti-violence prevention work, right, without funding? And I was like, I feel
Right.
like the reason why we're experiencing what we are experiencing is because we've relied too heavily on the federal government.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so there's so many other ways that you can fund your company and your mission without federal dollars. I'm a living witness to that. Like
Right.
the federal government don't pay me nothing.
Right.
Right. And yet I still be able to do what I do. And so I was just like, yeah, I think to your point about visibility, I said it. I was like, y'all operate in silos and you wonder why
Mm.
we're not we're not growing. Like y'all don't really know what capacity building is because in your
No.
mind the only people you should partner with are the people that are doing similar work. Well, that's stupid because survivors are literally everywhere, so
Right.
anyone could really be your partner in the community. It doesn't have to be another nonprofit that's serving survivors. It could be the tattoo parlor or the beauty salon because
Right.
survivors are going, listen, I'm a survivor. You see, I got the fresh haircut. Like we go
Okay.
everywhere. So it's like,
Yes.
why wouldn't you partner with all the other smaller people? Because we're everywhere. So I 1,000% agree. Like visibility, really locking hands with everyone, not just, oh, I'm gonna go over here to this other organization because we do the same work.
Right. Because then it's like you're at the mercy of those people who have the top dollars, right? Like
Yeah.
there's so much limitation to that type of work. Like, okay, it's easier. And I think that's why a lot of people want to go the federal money route because We like to think it's a lot of work, but it's actually easier work than doing grassroots and capacity building and community building, having
Yeah.
to there to those spaces, the barbershops, the churches, the grocery stores, because sometimes we overlook those type of places, right?
Yeah.
We don't even think about that. We just think about government and that type of work. So it's like we need to really understand that we oftentimes are limiting ourselves when we think about the federal dollar.
Yeah. And it's a lot that comes with those federal dollars. Like, yes, you can walk away with 500,000, $1 million, but
Mm-hmm.
at what cost?
At what
Because
cost?
me and you both have done grant reports. So, like, like it's a lot that goes into maintaining that money. Like,
Yeah.
you're not just getting that money and they like, all right, cool. I told like, nah, every 3 months you giving them an update of like what you did with said money.
Yes.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? So
Yes.
you really are a slave to the federal dollars. And I don't think many organizations that get that money understand that. Whereas, like, if you got with philanthropists, if you got other forms of grants, if you like, I was like, we had a training with the Women of Color Network, and we were
Mm-hmm.
learning about how, like, there are rich folk, you know what I mean, that literally have money to the side that's like
Mm-hmm.
they hire these managers to be like, yo, I need to give away $1 million before the government come for me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
find someone, give, you know what I mean? Like, there's so
Yeah.
many other ways that people can get money for their cause. And that's probably one of the reasons why I appreciated one of my mentors, because when I thought about making Save Me a nonprofit, she's a Black woman that oversees the DC Rape Crisis Center. She was like, don't do it.
Mm.
She was like, do not do it. And she was like, one, you are going to be doubly targeted because you're a Black woman and you're
Yeah.
the executive director of a nonprofit. Like,
Yep.
they're not going to try to fund you because they're going to feel like you're trying to push the Black agenda. And that was coming from a Black woman executive director that was like, yeah, find another way to fund your mission. Don't, do not do it. And so that's why I never turned it into a nonprofit, because people that have been doing this work was like, don't do it. Do not
Yeah.
do it.
And
You
shout
go,
out to them, right? Like shout out to them
yeah.
letting us know the real when it comes to this type of work and trying to figure out ways to get funding.
No, 1,000%. Because
Yeah.
I realized that as a for profit, I can still tap into the same dollars that a lot of nonprofits tap into.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of these dollars don't have those restrictions. They're not like,
Right.
oh, you have to be a nonprofit. Like, they like, do you got a cause? You got a mission? Like, you got a program? What we doing? Like,
Right.
that's really how they feel. So yeah. All right. So I
Mm-hmm.
want to ask you, because as a mental health professional, right, and we've touched a little bit about this, how important is it for us to be in these spaces on that night, making sure that survivors and even just people that may not even identify as a survivor, right, but know that something may have happened? Because a lot of times in these types of rooms too, like, there are people that haven't even put words to what happened to them until they hear it, and then they start feeling some type of way. So how important is it to have licensed professionals in the room?
It's really interesting that you said people don't sometimes understand the wording or the words
Yeah.
to put together because I'm a big advocate that language matters, right? Like oftentimes we feel certain things and we think certain things, but if a person were to ask us to describe it, it would be difficult for us to explain our overall inner world and experience about
Yeah.
what's happening in real time. So I feel as if mental health providers, we have a responsibility to provide language and
Yeah.
to help, people who may not identify as survivors or, people who have just been violated in so many ways and they just don't have the language or they don't really understand what has occurred. It's our responsibility and duty to provide that language for them to really understand what's happening and to help them in that way. So I feel as if having mental health providers at the gala is going to be essential because we can listen to what they're saying and we can
Yeah.
kind of help guide a bit, like some dialogue in regards to like, what has occurred, what's going on in regards to like moving forward after that
Yeah.
incident or incidents that has happened. So yeah, I just feel as if with the mental health aspect, we have a responsibility to provide language to the experience.
1,000%. I will tell you, as someone who has like spoken on so many stages, I've had survivors walk up to me and be like, I think something happened to me, while also shaking and crying and
Yeah.
literally having to be like, no, something happened and you know it because your
Yeah.
body's reacting to it. Like
Yes.
that language piece is so important because they don't know. Like it's like their body knows, because which is why The Body Keeps the Score is one of my favorite books about trauma.
Hmm.
But like their body knows, but like you said, they just don't have the words. I
Hmm.
literally remember speaking at a college and a university, and a young Hispanic guy came up to me, and he was like shaking and crying, and he was like, I think something happened to me. And I literally like grabbed his hand and held his hand and like was like, no, something happened, because
Yeah.
the way that your body is responding tells me
Yeah.
that your body knows something happened, and you just don't have the language yet to say
Yes.
what happened. And he
Yes.
just sobbed, and it was just like, because, and that's why I said like it's so important for mental health professionals to be in the room and be present, because we have so many of that. Like people just don't have the language. It's it's not even, I think it's not having the language, but I also think it's just the shame attached with saying
Yeah.
I was assaulted. Like it takes a lot to be able to say those words. Right. And so I think that's why the experience and the community that we're creating at this event is so important for me, because I know what it was like navigating those spaces by myself, not having anyone that looked like me that I could go to and be like, this is what happened to me. And so, yeah, language absolutely it matters. And I 1,000% agree with you on that, sis.
Yeah, yeah, and shout out to you for just being there for that person to feel comfortable telling you, like, based off what you were saying, I think something happened to me. You understood the responsibility that you
Yeah.
need to tell people how this really goes through and through.
Yeah, 1,000%. And I think that's one of the reasons why I always identify first as a survivor, because what I have learned is that people need to see themselves, right? And so when you lead with, I am a survivor, it gives every other survivor in the room permission to now
Hmm.
say the same thing. And so
Hmm.
that's why I always lead with that, because people have asked me that. They're like, well, why do you always open up telling your story? Right. Because I want to know, I want other survivors in the room to know that they now have permission to stand in their truth. And so if I don't stand in mine, then it makes it hard for them to show up. And I find that whether it's in person, whether it's virtual, whether it's on my social medias, like I'm always getting a survivor that is like in my DMs, like, oh my God, thank you, because this
Hmm.
too happened to me.
Yeah,
So that's why I do it the way that I do it, because you gotta give people permission. And the only way they get permission is when they see themselves. So
that's right.
all right, so as we wrap up, I gotta ask you, what is the thing that you are most excited, because you're on the planning team, so you know some of the stuff that we're working on behind the scenes. What are you the most excited about seeing at the gala? Like, what is the thing that you're like, I cannot wait to see how this is gonna play out?
I'm excited to listen to and receive the message that our keynote speaker is going to provide.
Oh, yeah,
You have spoken nothing but great things about her, and
yeah.
I'm just excited to get a front row seat to that. So that's one. Second, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. Me and Leah, we are foodies.
Yep, a thousand
So
percent.
the food, I ain't gonna. I just had to say the food is. I'm excited. Um, the music, you know,
Yeah.
gonna have some entertainment to help people. I feel as if music is just great for the soul. It's great for
Hmm.
things. So I'm excited to listen to the playlist. But yeah, that's just a sneak peek of some of the things that I'm excited about. But that keynote speaker, I can't wait to hear her.
Yeah. Listen, Dr. Dominique Pritchard, if y'all don't know who she is, go look her
Yeah.
up. That woman is just hands down phenomenal. Like, I can't wait. Like, and I've been in her presence, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
we both girl fan off of each other, but like, she's just incredible. Like, incredible. Like, you talk about a woman who's a survivor herself, who's gone through a lot of stuff, high ACEs score, just like many of us, you know what I mean? But has done incredible things, like got her own private practice, global speaker, like just incredible things. I think her message on resilience that night is going to be everything that we need to hear, not
Mhm.
only as just survivors and thrivers, but just as Black women, as Black people, because one thing we know how to do is bounce back. Like,
Okay, we're gonna do it every time.
that's one thing we know how to do. So I am definitely excited about that. Listen, the food is so funny because Aya said the same thing. She was like, the food, like what? Like, I'm just ready to eat.
Okay.
I was like, listen, I did my best to make sure we had the best
Yes.
Southern Caribbean food, Black owned, woman owned restaurants. Like, so shout out to Caribbean Fire because I can't wait to eat either. And I can
Mhm.
like drive to go get food from them anytime. But
Right.
I'm here for it. I definitely think the DJ is gonna be awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, y'all just gotta come. That's just the
Right.
reality. Like you just
Yeah, point blank. Get your tickets. They're on sale. Go ahead. You're
right.
not gonna be missing
So
out on some fun if not.
listen, I'm just saying. So for someone who's watching this right now who will be like, I think I want to come, or maybe I don't want to come, maybe I just want to find other ways to support, like what would you say to that person to encourage them to get behind this community, this movement? Like what would you say?
I would definitely recommend that they ask themselves if they don't know if they want to, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like kind of examine, yourself and ask a follow-up question like, why do you not want to do this? Or why do you feel as if you can't? Or why do you feel as if it's not a good idea? And kind of start checking in with yourself and what that answer would be. Because again, this is not for the team. This is not for the team. This is for people that have gone through things that other people may bring shame about, or they feel as
Mm-hmm.
if they're going to overlook it, ignore it. It's not that big of a deal. We have to support our community because we can't, again, continue to be a slave to the federal dollar. We can't always be at their mercy because based on whoever is in office, it could change at the drop of a dime, right? Like
Yep.
we had it 2 years ago, but now in 2025, everything's being stripped away. So that's letting you know that you really and truly don't have any autonomy over this. So if anything, ask yourself why you wouldn't do it. This
Yeah.
cause is very important. If you feel as if for whatever reason you can't attend, you can always donate to our cause.
Mm-hmm.
Donating whatever you can is always a big thing for us. And yeah, just tell everybody to get their ticket and understand that this is for people that need help. We have to
Yeah.
communicate and bring the community together. So, yes.
Yeah, 1,000%. And I love that you said it wasn't for the team because let's be real, like the team is volunteering, y'all. So
Right. Right.
like it is my hope and prayer that night to bless them with something. That's why
Yeah.
I keep praying for God to do what He gonna do. Because I never want to ask anyone to give up their time and their resources and their expertise for free, even though all of my team has been like, yo, we got you because it's you. Like, we got you, like, hands down. Right. But that's just me. So, yeah. So, as we wrap up, Sissy, please tell the people where can they find you? How can they connect with you? All the good stuff.
Yeah, so you all can connect with me on LinkedIn. I will send that information over to Leah. Hopefully, we can put it in the comment section or wherever we'll be, putting our interview here. Also, if you are in need of mental health services, you can email me at chood@wacenter.com. Um, and yeah, that's mainly it. Oh, and Facebook, Chelsea Hood, look me up. IG, it is underscore the Black Scholar underscore.
Listen,
Yeah.
y'all make sure y'all go follow my sis. Tell her that Leah sent you. As always, thank you so much, sis. I appreciate you coming on and having this conversation. And y'all get y'all tickets. The Summer of Impact sale has started. So the link will be in the description of this video. Definitely go get your tickets, save $20 on the ticket. And
Yeah.
we hope to see you this fall at the Courage Couture Gala.
See y'all there.